Hello, this is tutorial number 21 using the tap detector. Alright, so here's our board layout. Um, we are going to be using the RGB as well as three 100 ohm load resistors. As well, it's connected to ground. We have 3.3 volts powering this side of the board, as well as we have the ground cord. And this side of the board is 5 volts, which is the white cord, and also the green is going to be connecting to this ground. So the motor driver, which is why we have the 5 volts, just go over a little explanation of the motor driver. So the first red wire controls the motors, the signal controls the motor speed. Then we have this blue wire, which is the direction pin, as well as this green wire, which is connecting to ground. Then we have the motor itself. So one of them controls the speed of the motor, and the other one controls the direction. And then we have the ground cable, which is ground. Then the other side over here, we have another ground cable, this green one. Then we have our motor connections right here with these three wires, and then this red wire connecting to 3.3 volts. As well, we have our single pole double throw switch, which is connected right here. And then we have that going to ground as well as going to 3.3 volts. And that allows us to make a value 1 or 0 that we can use in the program. As well, we have our piezo buzzer, which is connected to digital pin number 9, so we can make sounds, and the brown cable connects that to ground. Alright, so now I'll show you how the program actually works. So the tap detector, you can change the range of like how hard you tap. So I changed it to really low, so I can just do a really well, first we'll show you the RGB. So we have two different sets of, if you tap on the bottom or the top, it will do different things. So if we just lightly tap twice on the top, we'll get red, green, blue. If we tap really lightly twice on the bottom, we get blue, green, and red. And then we can flip the SPDT switch, and then we will you tap the top, you get a piezo, just a little buzz, and then we tap the bottom twice really lightly, and then we'll get the motor spinning. Alright, so here is the code for my project. Here we're going to begin the serial monitor so we can utilize the serial monitor prints. We set all of our pins as outputs so we can use those. And then we're going to begin. So this allows us to use the accelerometer and the tap detector. This event callback, it instantly runs. It jumps out of the loop that it's in and instantly runs. Let's see, it's right over here, event callback. It'll instantly run that in the program. Set the accelerometer range for stronger taps. Then we're going to set the detection threshold. So this is what I was saying with how light you can tap. So I set it to 100, which usually the default is 750 that was set up before. So if you put it at 750, it'll be a little bit harder to tap, but you can just barely graze it with your finger with 100, and it will work. And then I also set the delay for 1,000, which is just 1 second. It's 1,000 milliseconds. That's so after your first tap, you get a whole second to do your second tap before it just like restarts, and you can just do another double tap. We have the void loop, but we're not using anything here because we're using the event callback attach interrupt, so we can bypass the void loop. And so this is where everything happens in our event callback method. So we make a int switch value digital read 3, which is the digital pin for our SPDT switch. And so we're going to make it so if this is high and there's a double tap, then if the tap is negative, which the z-axis, so if it goes, if the orientation is down or up, which is positive, so we'll run this forward pattern and this reverse pattern, depending on which direction you tap it in. And then if neither of those happen, it'll just set the LEDs to low. But we have this else right here, which is in line with this, the first if right here. So basically, if the switch pin is 0, so if it's not high, it's low, then we'll run this instead, which is our piezo, if it's negative, a Z value, or if the Z value is positive, we'll run our little motor function that just goes forward and reverse. So for our serial monitor printouts, they're pretty simple. So what I did was whenever one of the functions is basically ran through the double tap, it'll display it. So the piezo just buzzed, it says piezo. Then if we run the motor, you can hear it going right there. It will say motor. Then we flip the switch over. Now we're gonna get, if we do the top, the forward pattern, and if we tap the bottom, reverse pattern. As always, thanks for watching.